How's it going, everyone? It is Wednesday, November 13th, 2024. Let's get into the pick from yesterday's video, or two picks from yesterday's video. I gave Amazon as a long. I'm going to pull that up right here. And when that video came out, or when I took Amazon at least, I took it at 208.85. So I got in right at this candle at 245. Here was the setup on the M5 or the D1, sorry. Amazon had made a big move up, testing, preserving the majority of this move, flagging, got in pretty much right around here. Big instant cushion. Today the stock held all the gains while the market was pulling down and checking for support. Market has rallied, made a new high of the day, and pretty much testing that prior day's high right over here, right below 600. And Amazon has been chugging along very nicely. I'm not going to add to it immediately because I have a longer term basis, so I'm going to wait probably for the next little D1 dip. And what I am going to do is set an alert. So we got this buy signal alert yesterday at 208. So I am going to, let me view alerts here. Buy signal M15. Okay, so I'm going to reset this M15 alert. And that should give me a pretty decent entry point. A lot of these, I think, were triggered around the same time. Yeah, I mean, that's a beautiful buy signal right there. So pretty much got in on that buy signal, which is the 1230 candle on the M15. On the M5, I think it was probably a tad earlier. M5 is the 1240-ish, so ended close 1245. And then on the M30 chart, the 12 o'clock candle that closed at the 30 there. And let's see if we lost it on the H1. I am curious. H1, yeah, H1 actually never got retriggered, so that's actually a sign of some pretty good trend strength. So Amazon, that is already looking pretty well, and you're planning our add. So when would we add to this position? Well, first condition, it has to break that prior high, which it did. Excellent. Second thing over here, market has to break above 600. And then third thing, right, this stock it's a mega cap tech, right? This is a thick stock, so it's going to move up, and then it's going to pull away. It's going to move up and then pull away, right? I mean, just take a look at where it was, I don't know, way back over here. And I know I kind of put up all these SMAs here, just always kind of experimenting with a couple of new things, but there's a 15, here's a 8, here's a 3. Let's just take out, there we go. I'm just going to take this out for right now, but you can see the price action on Amazon, right? Here's it earlier last year, pulls back, dips, right? Dips. We're in this compression. We get the breakout. Here's a little dip, buy off the dip. Another dip over here, enter. So wait for these dips in the stock to add. Now you can also take it on a great entry on a compression breakout. Here's the test. So we have minor breakout. We have a gap up. We test a bit over here, come back in. We actually get the close above over here, getting some strength right at this level here. So that's where you would take Amazon as a long. And then you could get the compression breakout, so that way you get some follow through over here, and if it stalls, right, here it comes back. You're not taking too much heat on this, and your average cost is already way lower, right? Average cost is somewhere here, so you can definitely scratch the trade if everything kind of goes wrong. So that is what I'm advocating here. If you look at the trend up, right, we broke this downward sloping trend line. I'm going to put all these back on here. So look, we broke this longer term downward sloping trend line. This stock has been trending higher. And again, we're pulling back. We have a nice market tailwind. So we're just kind of riding this out until the next kind of major dip on a D1 basis, or if the stock shows some relative strength on any sort of market dip. So that is Amazon. I'm just gonna go over the other swings before I get into cart, which is down. Now team, we are still in team, and I added a little bit to team here at 252. Now, why did I add a 252? Well, again, let's zoom out a little bit to the market, and I might have mentioned this in yesterday's video. I can't remember, but right, class example relative strength. Team super strong. It's compressing over here. For the past day and a half, what the market does, the market is pulling back on this last 2 days. Now it's finding support, double bottom, higher low. We're starting to get above that level. So I said, look, we got this tall bounce over here yesterday. Let's go to the M15 here. And actually, no, we're going to go to the M5 because I know it's kind of messy. Some A VWAPs over here, but we got a tall bounce from this A VWAP again, all the way from the 11.6 candle. I'm going to zoom out all the way here, right? So this is the average buyer from that gap up. Came over here, big buy, right? Matched up pretty well with what we saw. So super tall bounce. That's the first sign. Now we got to make sure we get that double bottom. So we get that double bottom, and we're sort of pulling back a little bit at the end of the day yesterday. So when the market closed, right, and this is what we see on the market close, I said, look, team is pretty good. If team can break above this compression and fill in that gap, show some relative strength when the market starts to pull back, then I am going to get in the trade. And that is exactly what happened. So I added on a pullback. So remember, this stock, it's doing well. It's not the most insane volume I've ever seen, right? You see how the candles are mixed and overlapping? Okay, that means you don't have to buy green candles at the high of the day. Buy it at the 8 EMA, right? Get in at this price. So it started to pull away over here. I was like, hey, look, this is pretty nice. I'd love to get it at 252. That'd be great because here is my gap fill resistance. If we take, we're going to zoom pretty far back here, right? Here is the low, 251, right? So using this as support. Now it broke through, came back, found some support above, and was showing some relative strength. So broke through over here. And all right, I'm like, all right, if we can break through over there, then I think we are in pretty good shape. And yeah, that's exactly what we're seeing. The other thing too on team is that you might say, look, here's the 8 EMA, right? We're kind of far away from it. Well, if we look at the slope of the 8 and the 15, that's one thing I've been experimenting with, right? They've both been pretty consistent. So there's a little bit of overlap in the candles, which is good. Nice, steady green buying on very, very heavy volume. So this is the type of move that can break a lot of technical barriers, especially with a market tailwind. So that is, we're sticking with this stock here. My, again, durations hold it out until December. Now, we have to keep an eye on the nature of the stock. And one thing that I'm watching for here is if you notice in the past, right, it was moving down. This is a choppy move down. I'm trying to see how the nature of the beast changed, right? You can see it's been pretty choppy historically. And I'm really zooming back over here. Right, so here, I mean, this is way back when. When is this? This is 2021, right? So when we get a market tailwind and this is a strong stock, you can really see how this stock is kind of grinding up here, some nice steady candles. So the stock has been in a pretty choppy decline on a very longer term basis, right? And we're starting to kind of reverse out of that. Now this is a pretty major pivot. So if we can break through this high, we got a really nice move, kind of ahead of it here. And we have some time. We have the market tailwind, and look at the organization of this move versus any other prior move, right? See how we have long green candles here in heavy volume, right? Versus this move up here where there's so much more retracement and back and forth and choppiness. So the strength of this moves, we get this higher low. We're through this very long-term trend line, and I've drawn that on the D1 actually. Or I should have drawn it on the D1. So we're going to zoom out here. but through this very long-term trend line from the all-time high through that level, right, which kind of intersects pretty much right over here, that is going to tell us that, look, we got a pretty nice move, nice upside on this trade. So um, I added a little bit on that breakout, not a whole ton, because I'd rather see some sort of stock event here, like some sort of compression, maybe a dip and then a relative strength. That's when I'd want to get in on the stock. So that's why I didn't add a ton. I may add a little bit more at the end of the day if we close above this level and the market still looks good. Now, the market is getting pretty close to 600, so I don't want to add like too much close to 600 because I don't have any cushion on the trade. Now, my average price is here, so I still have some time to really ride this guy out. But I'm at almost a full position. I'm at 0.75 of a position, so I am really waiting to see, okay, I mean, can we break 600 here? I am bullish right now. I like what we're seeing in the chart, but if we don't break this level, then we might be more stuck in a range. We might have to compress maybe for another week or so sideways before we have sort of the ammunition to break out of that range. So that's why I'm a little bit hesitant on that. Once I get the market confirmation, then I'm going to be a little bit more confident adding to that position. Okay, we took CART as an earnings time spread, the 48 calls. So, in a pretty of an interesting situation here on CART. So, now I had a chance to scratch or take a 10% win, I think, maybe on CART very early in the morning. Didn't get it. We got this first bar here. So if you're nimble, right, and this is my just trying to nimble, I would take maybe a small loss, maybe like a 30% loss here. Now, here's the deal on CART. So it is bearish. Now, this stock is pretty bullish overall, right? So I know there's some long-term buyers going to find this price attractive. We're at the 50 SMA. And look, the market is not super bearish. So the market tailwind could come in next couple of days. And I think I have a decent chance to potentially take some profit on CART. So right now the spread is down. And if I look at where I am in the spread, I'm down probably about 2/3 of the original amount. So we're going to see here if CART can start to stage some move back, some bounce off the 50. That's what I would be interested in. Now, it has to make that move pretty fast, and if it doesn't, I mean, I'd also just hold the calls and expires worthless. And, I mean, if it makes a powerful move up, market makes a powerful move up in the next week and a half, fills back into the gap, could be pretty well. Now, what's the chance of that happening? I think it's pretty small, probably like 20%, I would say. So it is pretty unlikely. But I was willing to take a max loss on CART there. So just playing the probabilities here, and if you're being nimble, you should have gotten out earlier. If you're being patient, you just have to keep holding it through and let it go out. So that is the deal on CART. And pick for today. Let's get into the market analysis first. So I've talked about it a little bit, but we got this higher low double bottom, and the game plan coming into today. So remember, long term, nothing has changed. Short term, technical. Look, we got the FOMC meeting, right? We're through CPI. We got support at the 11.6 AVWAP, so we found that support. We confirmed that support with the double bottom, and we have broken above this last pivot high, this relative high. So this is a pretty bullish setup, in my opinion. Now, SPY 600 is a important level, so I'm not going to go gangbusters with longs, but I'm still in some startup positions, and we're still maintaining that bullish trend. So again, long-term fundamentally, I'm maintaining that bullish outlook. Technically, maintaining the bullish outlook. To me, the worst case is that we get some sideways motion, no follow-through. And the worst case scenario is you get some crazy deep drop to the 50 SMA. Again, short-term technically, we're just waiting for a retest of support or some tiny body candles. My bias is that I think we could probably get to 620 by the end of the year. We'll see. Potentially could be a stretch, but I think we have a decent shot. It depends how quickly we get through 600. So that is the forecast. Swing traders game plan, we're finding relatively strong stocks on a gap down or a move lower tomorrow morning. So that's what I wrote last night. And that helped prepare me to find the pick of the day, which is going to be Reddit. So I'm going to talk about Reddit in a second. Let's finish this bias over here. So if we look at what's happening on a day trading basis, yesterday we had a flat open bullish reversal day off the 11.6 AVWAP. Overnight, pretty flat open. CPI came in line. CPI has been deweighted, I think, a lot. And if you look at the first hour, we had a test and a hold of this, right? So we got this poke. See how we have a higher low because that AVWAP is rising. Got that poke, and then boom, 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 climbed up higher, and then we got some choppy action. This move up here is fairly weak, low volume, choppiness, but to me, there is a confirmation of support at this level, and we can lean on that support. So that's what we have over here. And in terms of components, the tech ETFs were weak earlier. MAGS was also fairly weak. IW and crypto were pretty strong. That might have changed later in this day. And some scenarios I highlighted in the first hour, I'm like, okay, we could have a LPTE day, we either have a bullish reversal day, or we have some sort of weak bear trend day, which I thought was the least likely scenario. Looks like that bullish reversal day is playing out, and we see we had this test find the low early, and this is actually more of a bullish trend day, I would say. Not really a bullish reversal day, because a bullish reversal to me has to happen much later. We get a very strong move in the PM, not really in the AM. So that's to me the difference between a bullish reversal and a bullish trend here. Right, this move happened in the first 45 minutes, first hour. Yeah, first 45 minutes, an hour, we retest that, and then we rally up higher and close near the high of the day. So game plan, we're looking for the higher low, and we're going to get longs off of that support. So a couple of nice longs that we're going to take in. Now, let's go into Reddit and why I liked Reddit. So this is a strong stock. It has pulled back. You can see that it is not gangbusters, go, 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 like Team. It will pull back. And so on Reddit, and I may show this in a couple of different ways. So the first one here is that stock broke through this downward sloping trend line, formed double bottom, higher low here, and it started to rally up above this pivot high. That's when we got the buy signal. And so I didn't want to chase, so I entered this. I got in on the stock at 133, right around here. Again, look at the price action of the stock, right? There's red mixed candles. You don't have to chase at the high of the day. Put it if you put in an order at the 8 EMA, right? Or put in an order on a dip or a pullback, right? You can get a much better price. I could have got this at probably at VWAP over here. There's a very good chance that the stock is going to test VWAP if the trend is not very strong. And you can get a good fill at that level. Now, I'm also going to pull up, excuse me, over here. I've been experimenting with a couple more AVWAPs over here. So let's take a look at Reddit on a M5 basis. Now you can see this is kind of a crazy chart, but here's the main thing. So we broke this downward sloping trend line, and we found support at this VWAP coming in here from the 5th, right? Test, test, test. Here's that support of that level, coincided right above this prior breakout level, right? So we know that this is looking good. And then this shows pretty much the VWAP from here's today's VWAP, here's the VWAP from yesterday, and here's the VWAP from 2 days ago. And then this blue line is the VWAP from the all-time high, right? So we came up over here, and these levels are providing a little bit of support and resistance. You can see this is sort of a rolling 3-day AVWAP. So when the stock is trending, it has this sort of nice stack, right? Comes back, tests, comes back, tests, right? Comes back, tests, finds support, moves back up higher. And then a bearish trend day, you can see it breaks down. And over these VWAPs, part of a little bit of support, a couple of bounces over here. And some of these end up, kind of stalling out. But if I were to just draw a whole bunch of these and stack them, you can pretty much see how, right, are these trend ending? No, but there's a little bit of price reaction at these levels. And eventually we want to see which level it ends up finding support at. So here's the VWAPs from all of these things, and here's the VWAP from that level. So Reddit, again, came up over here, right? So it broke through this, broke through that highest VWAP point, came back, tested this level, and that's where I wanted to buy. I wanted to buy close to this level after I got the breakout. And that's why I got in at 133, which is pretty close. 132 would have been a little bit better because support is around here at 131.50. So I'm about $1.50 away from support on an intraday basis. And on a D1 basis, I've actually sized this, and I'm going to go back out over here, look at the D1. So I've sized this where if I'm wrong about the market, right, I can actually hold it pretty much all the way until this earnings AVWAP at 118. I have the 8 EMA to lean on. I have this prior support and bounce off to lean on. So that's how I've sized it on. And then, worst case scenario would fall through the gap, which I think is unlikely. We also have, is what I'm seeing right now, a bit of a channel here. Upward sloping trend line. And then if I draw it right here, okay, a little bit of a bullish channel. Now, how strong is this? Who's to say? But this tells me that, look, all the trend is going up, and we have a couple of minor levels to lean on here. And super major level, I mean, if it breaks below here, I'm probably going to take the loss on the trade. That's how I've sized it. And on Reddit, same thing. It's going to dip, so I'm going to let the stock have a pretty big move. And, here's how I would have traded it. Let's look at maybe an H1 chart, right? And just look for the next sort of cycles in the stock. So stock makes a big move up. You're waiting for the dip. All right, through this pivot high, you'd enter here at 116. Move comes all the way back up, pulls back. Next pivot high over here, 133. So if I was already in the stock from very early, I would be adding to that position. And I just ride it until the next move higher, or if it starts to stall out, right, then I can decide if I want to, take some gains or not, or take some chips off the table. So Reddit is going to be the pick of the day. And that is your video. So keep looking out for some nice swings that we can take. And look for the stocks that are, just kind of pulling back here today, or, just setting up on a longer term basis for a good entry. So I'm looking at my chart here. So I'm looking at something like maybe Hood. Hood has made a pretty big move. You wait for it to dip and then come back in. And see how the stock is. You're not quite there. We want to see a little bit longer of a dip. I have Starbucks in here. Let's see how Ulta is doing. But yeah, set those dips, set those alerts on the stocks, and just kind of wait. A lot of stocks will be cooking. Some stocks might have already made their move. Ulta's looking nice, but not a ton of momentum here. Earnings on the 5th. Potentially could set up for a PCS, I would say. I may consider that. But yeah, we'll keep an eye out for it. But yeah, that's it for today's video. So thank you for watching, everyone. Last one here, we'll take a look at Shop. Shop is one that I like a lot, and I may, again, same thing, wait for a pullback in this guy or a break of compression. Yeah, so here's what we like on Shop, right? Came back in here, tested this level, and has to break through this trend line over here. We got a fresh buy signal on this guy. So we want to make sure we digest some of those gains, maybe compress above here and get a fresh breakout. That's when I would take the trade, and you can lean on this as support at 106. But Shop is one to keep an eye out for, I'd say in the next either today or tomorrow. So that might be one of the last ones that we put on. All right. So thank you for watching, everyone. And let's take a look at how our picks are doing in tomorrow's video.